So hiring an executive assistant that you can get right now, a really, really awesome one for about $5 an hour, will change the way that you do things.
Hi there, and welcome to Real Life in Real Estate. I'm Mark Peebles, here to help you live your best life and achieve ultimate success. And today I am so thrilled to introduce to you a good friend of mine, someone that I've actually known for several years and met as they were moving to my market for military reasons, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But listen, I want to introduce you to Tim Whittemore. Tim, not only am I glad to have him on the show today because I believe he's going to speak into your life, but he also is about to launch a new book. In fact, I think the week that we are launching this episode, his new book, which is The Freedom Agent, is going to be out. And so I'm excited about this conversation today. Tim, welcome to Real Life in Real Estate.
Hey, it's great to be here. I appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Well, so you're in Destin, Florida. Talk to me about your career path so far.
All right. So mine started pretty interestingly. Once I got out of the U.S. Air Force, active duty, decided to go and fly with a unit in upstate New York. So that's where I started to get my real estate license. Yeah. In between flying with the Air National Guard, going down to places like Antarctica and Greenland, and, up there. In between, I was selling real estate, or at least attempting to. It was rough in upstate New York to try to figure that out. But in the meantime, I was doing that. I was also part of a cruise. Like, I was selling vacation cruises. And I got some killer deals. I invited a guy that I used to fly with, and we were down there on a cheap Carnival cruise. I mean, it was our first one, so we were having a great time, right? I remember going in to the port, and we're hungover from the next day, just trying to like this is going to be amazing. And the guy just looks over, and this is before I got into New York real estate, right? And he goes, "Hey, man, you should think about getting into real estate," because that's what he did when he got out. I was like, man, I never thought I could do that. I mean, I was an engineer. I'm not going to be good at this, right? And then, as the additional drinks came on and a good time started, I started to convince myself, I was like, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can, right? So that what leads me back to New York to get into it. And I had started that for maybe just less than a year, got into KW for a little bit. And he called me up one time. He's like, dude, just come down here. And do real estate with us. And I don't know if you know this, it was military, like I was active duty. You can't just say, I'm leaving.
Right.
But I was in the Guard. So the Guard was like, yeah, you can go if you want to go. I was like, what?
Wow. So I was going to actually make the joke like, hey, I'm giving my 2 weeks notice, but you kind of did.
Yeah, I kind of did, right?
How much notice did you have to give?
It was probably like maybe 2-3 weeks.
Okay. Wow.
So I was like, okay, I guess that's what we're going to do. Wow. So I had packed up all my stuff that I had, put it in my car, right, in upstate New York, put the rest in a storage unit and just drove down here. And I'm going to call that a leap of faith, because I had a couple $1,000s in my account, went down, didn't have a Florida real estate license yet, and lived out of my buddy's spare bedroom for several months, back to the wall, just savings, no license yet. And pressed. So the interesting part about this is I joined a team, right? And I was a team agent, and I'm so glad that I did that, because it was all this experience around me. It had people that had my back. Like, I'm so happy that I did that, regardless of any split that you would have done, right? You gotta pay to learn, right? But I was so happy to do this. It took 6 months to get into it. And then finally the paycheck started coming in. I ended up still making 6 figures that first year, first time ever in my life.
So you made 6 figures your first year in the business.
Rookie year. Yep, we sure did.
Well, we're going to get into how you did that, or maybe you want to go ahead and get into how you did that.
It's up to you. This is your show.
Let's do it. So talk to me about that. Your first year in the business, that is hard to do. Yeah. Now, maybe you're selling in a beach market and it was just easy to do that. What did you do to make 6 figures your first year?
So it was all about, I will give this all up to my mentorship, and then just having the right direction, having a plan. Being part of the military, I knew how to execute, right? How to get things done. And that's what it took. And I know a lot of this industry talks hustle, and hustle and hustle. And a lot of times that burns us out. But at the beginning of your career, I'm a big fan of this. Why? Because everything in real estate is momentum.
Yep.
As soon as you start to build that momentum, it goes next to next to next. So once I got the license, I just started doing things. Remember, I moved to a market where everybody was gone. Like everybody I knew was gone. It was the military. So I had to
Right.
go with people I hadn't met before in order to start the business. Now I got a couple of leads from the team, but that wasn't the majority. What did I decide to do? Double down on my strengths. I went after open houses, became the best open house person in my entire market. Like I was teaching classes, not even a year in the business, of how I was doing it. On top of that, I tried everything else. I tried the cold calls. I tried the expireds, the FISBOs, door knocked, flyered, everything. I was out in the Florida sun, just dying, knocking on doors to promote my open houses and whatever else that I was doing. So I went through all the basic stuff, but anything that you do in real estate, it's about doing massive action, right?
Right.
Massive action and then executing and getting that. And that's what it took me. And did I hit burnout? Of course I did. Everybody does at that point. And I'm sure that's a question you probably ask, like, what is one of those things that you could have told yourself at the beginning? And one of them would have been like, pace yourself, give
Yeah.
yourself some time back. I was in such a rush to get to the end that I forgot about me.
Yeah.
So those of us with families and people that we look out for, that's a little bit more tough, and it could really kind of hurt that. So make sure you at least take some time back, schedule those times for yourself up front. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was all through those, and then that momentum built and built and built, and that's what allowed me to get to that
So
36 point volume
that's amazing in your first year.
first year.
I mean, honestly, I'll go back towards the beginning of my career, or I've got a sister that's in the business that has been very successful. And I remember when we were sitting down business planning together one time with some old timers in the business. And when they were asking how much money we wanted to make, my sister said, well, I'd like to make $100,000. And this was going to be her first year in the business. And they both looked at her and they were like, that is probably a little bit, that's probably too big of a goal, right? So tell me, was that your goal, or did you have a goal that first year in the business, or were you just out grinding just to do what you could?
I mean, I think all agents that get into this, depending upon where they come from, I'm not going to say all, a majority of agents that are going to come into this business have never made the 6-figure mark. So that's always what we're keen to eye on. When I was interviewing people, when I ran a team, that's always was their number. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I want to make 100,000, right? And be like, that's great. We can put a plan together to get you to do that. The only thing you have to do is execute, right? So having that plan makes the biggest difference in the world, right? And then you going out to execute. Having a community around that also makes a big difference
Yeah.
for you to be able to vent and grow and things like that.
So with the whole team aspect,
Mm-hmm.
and you said you would recommend anyone new coming into the business jump onto a team. How
100%.
much structure did your team provide for you?
You know, when you don't know anything, you don't know what you don't know, right? It's really good to have something to structure, whether you're looking to be a team leader someday or just going out on your own to see how the people that are successful are doing it. That is the biggest thing, to see all of that. So I did get to see the structure almost to a point to where I started contributing as well. They ended up promoting me to their operations manager
Wow.
and still was doing sales. So we're able to do all those at one time, expand upon it, and have almost a business, like an entrepreneurial business, of which I was an entrepreneur growing my own business within.
Right.
Yeah. So it made a big difference.
Okay, now in the middle of this, like I said in the intro, we got to know each other through basically a military move. And
Mhm.
at the time, we were both with the same company. We were both with EXP. And I get this call out of the blue one day from Tim saying, I'm going to be moving to Ohio, right? So how did that affect your business, making that move, and what happened?
Yeah. So my fiance at the time was got orders from, she was military, right?
Mhm.
And she got orders up to Wright Pat outside of Dayton there. And all my business was located there in Destin. And luckily enough, we were part of the new cloud-based brokerage at the
Right.
time. And that was allowing me to, just get another license and be under the same brokerage in multiple states. So what I decided to do was to run both at one time. And the only way that I was going to be able to do that was for me to have boots on the ground in both areas, right? I was
Right.
already running a team, so I already had the Destin spot set. So it was just establishing in Dayton. One of
Yeah.
the things that I can share with you that was pretty crazy was that I realized, I did a little bit in New York, how different the atmosphere was, agent to agent wise, how different it was
Yeah.
doing real estate, how different the contracts were from
Right.
Cincinnati was way different than it was in Dayton. Like we
That's
didn't have
right.
that in our area. So it was a big learning curve. But one thing I did realize that at its foundation, real estate was still the same. It was
Right.
about getting out there. It's a contact sport, and it's just about getting your iterations in.
So when you came to Dayton,
Okay.
talk to me when you came to Dayton. What kind of business did you do in this market? And
Okay.
really at the same time, what were you doing in Destin at that time, going back and forth?
Sure. So yeah, I mean, my first year, I think it was COVID, so it was a little bit more difficult. But I think that first half year that I worked or so, about 6 months, we ended up closing about 4 deals, and then into the next year it was another 8 just in that area.
Right.
But back in Destin, my team was still doing, I think it was close to 50 or 60 to include
Wow.
my deals that we were still closing during COVID. Now, remember, those were the good old days, right?
Right. Right.
I mean, deals were dropping from the sky. During that 2021, my team was putting up close to 100 deals every single year,
Wow.
right? Through that
Fantastic.
time. But I had a team of like 14, so you can do the math with that
Right. Right.
at its peak. So, but we had that. I had one agent that worked with me up in Dayton to be able to do that. So obviously, it was a more established business down in Destin up here,
Right.
but also my price points were very similar, which I thought was kind of interesting since the average price point was much lower. When I got into Ohio real estate, I remember one broker telling me, or whomever was teaching the class was going, "We work really hard for our money here." And I
Yeah. Right.
totally understand what she's talking about.
So now being in the Destin market, like what is an average price in the Destin market right now?
You're looking at like 475, 350 and above. The average price point in the city of Destin is about 875. So
Wow.
depending upon where you go, we've got an array of different types of real estate here. So lots of opportunity.
Okay. Now, I want to go back, kind of hit that first year and then the move to Ohio.
Sure.
One of the things we always talk about is the sphere of influence, right?
Yeah.
And how important it is to build a sphere of influence. So when you were building that first year and you were grinding it out, were you building a list with that? Like, how was that building a sphere that long term was going to feed you?
So one of the things one of my first mentors taught me was that as soon as you get up to 300 past clients or so, you never have to prospect again. Just go
Right.
back to the SOI and past clients, right? And that was the foundation I went off of. So it was about as many deals as I could stack, as many relationships that I could establish at open houses, and creating a list of which I could continue to get back to them using a CRM system or anything
Yep.
to keep myself on track. And again, it's a contact sport, building those things out. So to be honest, it wasn't 300. It was once we got under, I think it was 100 to 150. As soon as I had that, and we all know the math, right? It's every 100 people in your database, you're supposed to get 12 to 19 sales per year. I have it
Okay.
written down,
Yep.
so just in case you were looking, but that's the math for it. So once you're able to put that together, you can think how much that can scale. And
Right.
I've always taught my agents, and I practice the same way when it comes to, it's like, I have 3 main pillars that I use for prospecting,
Okay.
right? One was open houses. And then the 2 others I would rotate based on my skill set and what was going on in the market. So one year I was after expireds.
Yep.
The other
Okay.
one, I would go out to social events, right? We had like a little kickball league that we did out here, and that's where I got business. And it would be social sports or whatever. There's so many different ways to prospect. But the good news is that you always are in there. I don't believe in until you're leveraged out as a team leader to go much higher than that. And if I was really going to emphasize anything for somebody that's struggling, I'd be like, just pick one.
Yep. Yeah. Right.
Just pick one and master that, then add your second and then your third, and then you can build from there.
Okay, so now speak to the agents, because I hear it all the time. Like, oh, I just moved to the area and I just don't know a lot of people, or I wasn't involved in a lot of, outside extracurriculars, or, I had a lady one time that joined our company and she was really struggling. And I was like, you got to get out and you've got to meet people.
Yeah.
And she said, well, I was a stay-at-home mom my whole life. And so this is like my first real career and I just don't know people. So to me, that's just excuses, right? And you're proof of that. So I'm a new agent. I don't know anybody. I just moved to the area. Tell me what I need to do today.
First thing that I would say for you to do that I know works, and it works in both of our markets, was the open house strategy. First thing I would recognize is the fact that if you don't already have a group of people that you have to go create it.
Yep.
Because that's how we sustain business over time, right? As repeat clients. It's the easiest and most leveraged thing that you could do outside of listings.
Right.
So what I would do is I would get out there and be like, what are some ways that we can do this? If you want people to come to you, right? And you want an opportunity to get out to them, I love the open house strategy. If you're not a in-person type of person and you'd rather hide behind your computer or your phone, I would say get a list of expireds for sale by owners. Start calling those. I mean, you run out of numbers, start circle prospecting around one of your partner agents' listings, right? You have all these opportunities. Just know when it comes to met and haven't met, right? It's going to take a lot more haven't met to reach the numbers of met. So I know if somebody's a part of that Keller Williams thing, you know what I'm talking about. But just know that it's familiar people and not.
One of the greatest books of all time, besides The Freedom Agent. But one of the greatest books of all time in real estate is The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And if you're listening to this or watching this and you have not read that, please go and read it. Gary Keller put that out years ago, and it really is one of the foundations for our business. So, but yeah, you're right. Have met is much easier to generate business from than the have not met crowd. You've mentioned the open house strategy a lot, though. So I want to know, like, okay, great. I'm going to have an open house strategy. What do I do? Like, where do I go? How do I generate more business off my open houses?
Sure. So for brand new agents, you don't have any listings yet, more than likely. So what I would do first, if you're on a team, use your team listings. And if you don't have that, use your broker listings. If you don't have that, start reaching out to other brokerage that are other broker friendly. Usually those ones trying to recruit you. And when you go out to those, get those listings, ask permission, make sure that they're willing to put it into your MLS and promote it so people know, right? But it's not just going and putting an open house out there one time. It's about doing it consistently. If you do anything, make sure it has a consistency to it. It could be one a week. Okay.
Right.
And it could be more likely 2 a week for it to be working effectively. But you can't just do it for like a month and be like, oh, it didn't work. It doesn't work that way. You got to do it consistently for at least what I would say 3 months before you're really going to see if it works or not for you. And you have to be consistent. Now you can add on to this because getting people to come to you is passive, right? If you want to be active in the market, there's many things that you can do around the open house, which made me successful. One was going out and door knocking all the surrounding neighbors and inviting them to the open house. I bring flyers out, right? I would go door knock 2 days prior with a big old list and a clipboard and write down people's names that I talked to. I would send handwritten notes back to them saying, hey, I loved whatever about your house, right? Or we had a great conversation. You really made my day. Whatever quirk I needed to do. I would door knock before them. When it was my open house, I would also do mailers and still door knock. And people would be like, hey, Tim, I just got your mailer, right? Yeah. And you can also, if you are getting mailers, most of the CRMs now will give you a list of all those people, right? And now you can retarget those people after the open house via Meta, through Facebook and Instagram. So those are just some of those. And you can also cold call around after you do with the door knocking, if you have access to the list for all the people surrounding that area. Yeah, so there's just so much that you could do. Go ahead.
Yeah, you've mentioned that like circle prospecting. What software platform are you using for circle prospecting?
It really depends on the area. What works here in my area is RedX.
Okay.
Mojo Dialer is also a really good one. Land Voice, all of those depending upon your area. Because I know I used a couple of different. I think I used Land Voice when I was up in Ohio, and it worked the best.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Okay, so you are active, not just passively waiting for people to come to your open house. You have a very active process to get
Yep.
people to come to that open house. And I love that. So now they do come to the open house and you have people walking through the door. How are you converting those to clients, number one? And then number two, if they don't convert to clients, how are you, getting enough information that you can begin to build a relationship with those people?
Sure. So one of the tricks I learned was as long as it's not pouring rain or inclement weather, I always left the sign up book outside on the table. Right. That's the easiest way for people to feel like, oh, I'm supposed to do something before I come in. The second thing I do is when they come through the door, I have a process. It's a 3-step process. Right. So when they come in, I greet them. I say, hey, welcome to my open house. My name's Tim. I'm the one with the name badge. Ha ha ha. And I would shake their hand. They would give me their name. Right. I was like, go ahead and take a look around. If you have any questions, again, my name's Tim, right? And I'd walk away. I'd go to the kitchen because I'm terrible with names and I would write their names down
Yeah,
on,
right.
on whatever, right? I would let them walk to the first room. Usually the first room is the most important to them. I would creepily hang outside and listen to what they were saying. And when I heard something that I could jump in on, I would go in and talk to them or just go in and be like, hey, how's your Saturday going or whatever, right? Then I'd
Yep.
ask them the second question. How long have you been looking for a home? Now they're going to identify, are they a nosy neighbor? Do they have an agent? Are they renters or whatever? And then I would, if the conversation continued, I would continue it, or I'd walk away and ask the third question when I came back. Do you have a home to sell prior to purchasing? Right. So now I've identified if I'm going to have both of them, right? If I can get a
Right.
listing, if I can get a buyer, I've identified who they are. Now, no matter what they say, right? Before they leave, I'm always going to give them something. Right. So it could be a business card. It could be a packet that I put together about the home information, if applicable. And I'm always going to ask them for something before they leave. So the boldest thing that you could do when they leave is you're going to have to say something like, hey, I think this home is perfect for you. Is this something you're interested in putting an offer in on?
Right.
And almost always I'd be like, no. And I'd be like, oh, and then tell you why. And then
Yeah.
you go, okay, well, if I can find a home that has X, Y, and Z, and I can, we can get together and go over them, would that be something you're interested in? Yeah, great. Let's book a time. And that's how I'd get them every time.
I love it. Absolutely love it. No, but here, the value in this for agents that are listening is that Tim had a system. He's not just flying by the seat of his pants. He's not just showing up, passively hoping people show up to his open house. He's going out and finding people to come to the open house. And then when he gets them in the door, he has a system for conversation, a flow to what he's doing so that he can engage them, not make them feel like they're being sold, but then ask important questions that are moving them one step closer to being a long-term relationship that he's building. And I will just say, it's the relationships that you build that are going to lead to your success. And so Tim does this very, very well.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that you have that process, Tim. So what's making you successful today? I mean, I'm guessing you're not pounding on doors like you were. What are you doing today to be successful?
Sure. So I've really evolved around back when I had met you. Even it was just me and my fiance, who now we did get married, and now it's my wife, and now we have a baby girl. Right.
That's awesome. Wait,
Right.
wait. So we got to pause on that. What's your baby girl's name?
Her name is Rebecca. We call her
Rebecca.
Becca.
I love it. That's my daughter's best friend's name is Rebecca.
Nice.
And there's nothing better than having a daughter. I mean, I have a son too. If he listens to this, I'll apologize later. There's something about daughters. In fact, right before I walked in here to record today, my youngest daughter came into the office. She just got her license and is running signs for me now.
Oh, I love that.
And she came in and like surprised me and gave me a big hug. And there's nothing better, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So I love it. Rebecca. Okay. And
Yes.
what's your wife's name?
Wife's name is Jessie.
Jessie. Okay. So Jessie and Rebecca. So now, very important, they have to be your priority and you can't grind as hard as you were grinding. But yeah, so let's go into the success that you're having now and what's making you successful.
Yeah. So it was a heck of a journey, right? So once all of that happened, what was happening at that time? I'm a traditional team leader. I've I walked my way out of Dayton, concentrated on Destin, right? I had upwards of 14 agents at one point working with me. And as a team leader, we see a lot of volume. We see a lot of dollars coming through. But the problem is we don't get to keep a lot of it. A lot of this stuff starts to come back, and it's a lot harder for us as team leads to get out of production and still make the money that we want to make for our lifestyle.
Right.
So that was something that I noticed as a team leader. And I was just like, I need to figure out something else, right? During the time that I was going back and forth, I also needed some extra leverage. So what I looked into was virtual assistants, right? Virtual assistants were helping me run a YouTube channel in Dayton, which I still get leads from, by the way, still to
Wow.
this day, that I reference out, right? Or referral
Yeah.
out. And then the one that I have in Destin. And having that leverage, I was like, this is amazing. So what I started to do is I got rid of almost all of my in-person and hired all virtual. And then still my daughter came, life had changed, and I started to look around. I was like, I got to figure something else out because I'm giving all my time and energy to our agents and I don't have much more to give back. And I started to miss things. And I was like, this is too much, right? So I had to figure something else out.
Yep.
And a process that had been around for a long time was called the admin model, right? It's not new. It's where you hired a whole bunch of admin in your office. They do everything else. And like, you're the main person and you would run around, right? But that's a lot of overhead. You need space, you got to pay W-2 wages, things like that. So it didn't seem feasible for most of us that were doing, maybe just the lower six figures at the time. So then we go, okay, there's got to be another way. Can I replace these people with my awesome virtual assistants that I found? And the answer was yes. Now, it took a long time and a lot of heartache to figure out how to do it. But I finally met somebody else that added a couple of pieces that I was missing, and then I had it. So for the last about year, maybe a little bit longer, I've been running this new model where I don't go out on showings anymore. I don't go out on listing appointments anymore. Like everything I can operate no matter where I am in the world. I could be up there in Dayton, didn't matter. I could run this whole thing. I wish I would have had it back then, right? But now I just have anywhere between 3 to 6 virtual assistants that run absolutely everything for me. I pay agents per door, and that all my listing appointments and buyer consultations are all virtual. And then the biggest question is then where does your business come from? That's where it all started, right?
Yeah.
So it just has to be a place where you don't have to put the sweat equity in, right? It could be running your SOI. You build a good, solid SOI, the system is wonderful.
Right.
Because that's all you have to really do, right? Is make sure that you're in contact. Could be if you're a killer cold caller, you could do that, or you could get your virtual team to assist you with that. The biggest thing that I like, especially here in 2025, is attraction marketing. Mark's doing it right now in his podcast. It's getting people to come out and to actually So we are on YouTube and everything else. Go ahead.
Everybody calls me attractive, but you just did. So I'm going to take it. No. Well, so a couple questions that are coming off of this, like immediately in my head, I'm like, okay, so you're doing virtual listing appointments. How does a virtual listing appointment work?
Sure. I mean, you procure a listing any way that you normally do, right? And it's just simply by whatever prospecting that you're going to go for, right? So we'll just say that my team called an expired listing, right? So they're like, yeah, we would love to hear what you had to say. So normally what we'll do is we'll ask a couple pre-qualifying questions like you would over the phone. And in this case, we use a system called Focus First. And we have to, in our market, use a competitive market analysis, not a comparative, to sell anything right now.
This is exactly what I've been preaching lately. Okay, so good. I'm glad you're going here.
Awesome. So now we're looking at competitive market, and a lot of people aren't speaking this language anymore. They're still in the old mindset. So we would send them a video, 8 to 10 minute long, explaining the market, where they were, if it was an expired, maybe what had happened. And then I've eliminated the biggest objection that any seller is going to have: price.
Yep.
And then from there, I set up a Zoom consult to go through and be like, hey, let's do my listing marketing. If they do ask, like, well, you haven't really seen the house, be like, okay, you're there now, right? Walk me around.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they'll get on their cell phone and they'll walk me around the house. People love this. You think that they won't? People love this because they don't have to prep the house for company.
Yeah.
Right? They can show you the things that they want to show you. And they're like, oh, this is so much easier, this and that. It was like, well, what if we miss something? The market's going to tell us. The
Right.
market's going to tell us. Now, don't get me wrong. I still get somebody to go back through it. My photographer will go through, obviously, and take that. Or if I'm really worried about it, or they are, I will send one of my runners or an agent to go through for what I pay them per door for a showing, to do a quick cell phone walkthrough about the yard and everything else and the surrounding, so I can tweak the price before we go active.
Right.
So I still have boots on the ground. I am paying people to go out there, but that's really it. And we've been really successful doing so.
One of the things I like to do is get out ahead of problems that come up for my clients when they move into their homes, because something is always going to go wrong. The water heater is going to stop working. Their furnace is going to go out. They're going to have a plumbing leak that they're going to be calling me needing help on. I love to be able to tell them, hey, we got you an Advantage home warranty as part of your deal. That's amazing, because now you can make one call or go online and file a claim with Advantage Home Warranty, and they're going to take care of the rest. They'll send a technician out to make the repair, or they'll put money towards a replacement if it gets to that point. So it takes off so much stress for me, for my clients, to know that I've got Advantage Home Warranty in my corner, and I carry one in my own home. I think you should too, and you should recommend it for your clients. So check out Advantage Home Warranty at AdvantageHW.com. That's AdvantageHW.com.
Okay, so the big question is, since you're doing most of your business virtually now,
Mhm.
what kind of volume are you personally doing, and how much has it changed your life to go to this business model?
Here's the best thing. When I was a team lead, I was looking at, I got to do 356 transactions a year, right? Like that was the goal. I gotta be doing so much in order to hit the lofty goals I was after. What happened is because I minimized the overhead, right, but still ran the team model, but had so less of an overhead cost, I don't need that many sales anymore.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
instead of closing, 100 a year, now I only have to close to make that same income 36, right?
That's amazing.
42, whatever the price point is. Like the GCI is so much lower, and I still get to live the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, just doing 36 at what that is, I mean, that's a 20-hour week for me to make that amount of money, and everything else is leveraged. 80%
Okay,
of my communication is leveraged.
so ballpark, obviously you're making into the six figures, but
Mhm.
ballpark me what you're going to make this year. As I want agents to hear this. I mean, this is an agent focused show. I want agents to know what kind of money can you make running this kind of business and living a really good life.
Let's just say this without giving you a specific number. It's over $250,000.
See, that's phenomenal. That
Yep.
is awesome. Absolutely. Congratulations on that. That
Right.
is absolutely amazing. And I think you and I have a lot in common in this respect.
Hmm.
Now, I run a company, so I have, 130 agents in my company, and eh, you know, there's that whole piece. I do the podcast. I do a lot of speaking across the country. And so with doing all of that, I have to be able to delegate. And it sounds like that's really the key, is that it's about delegating, which I'm thinking this is probably leading into where we want to go anyway, which I'm just dying to know about the Freedom Agent. So your new book coming out. I want to know about the book, and I just want to hear all of your perspectives on it.
Yeah. So I built it off of my avatar, right? I loved being a team leader. I really did. And I loved helping agents. And it gives me a lot of pride doing this now, and to be able to give back to your community. And the thing that I realized is that my lifestyle that I wanted to live was incongruent with doing the traditional team model or being a broker. And even if it was, and I wanted to do both, how could I do that? Because I still have to be in production. So using a couple of key virtual assistants and models and workflows, I would still be able to maintain that business, but not have to put that full-time effort back in. If I was working 20 hours and then spent the other, well, how realistically in real estate, more than 20 hours back in building your business and everything else, like that's really doable. Now that's sustainable. We get to keep people in the business that should be in the business. not just hustlers anymore. We get to keep
Right.
good agents, people that love it, not people that are just going out. I'm not going to get negative with that, but you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I
And it
get
was
it.
also the single agents too, that are just dying out there doing as much as they can. And they're great agents. It's like, why don't you get your life back? I would
Right.
love you to do that. So that's where this concept came from. So what is it? So where it came is just, first of all, it's just about leverage. The first thing that you could do once you start making money and you're stable and you figure out this is it, I love real estate, this is how I'm going to do it. You get through your 100 days or whatever. I know, Mark, you got an awesome product coming out. You get through that, and now you've established you establish yourself as an agent, what your business is. The next part is figuring out, okay, how do I start stepping back from those things that I don't necessarily have to do anymore? What is the admin that I don't need to do, right? There's a great book by Dan Martell. It's called Buy Back Your Time. So basically, it's about how to leverage your time back, right? And it's almost, I would say, a virtual assistant book. And it'll teach you how to get your basic things that take up so much of your time, right? It's your email, your calendar management, maybe even answering some phone calls. Like, what are some of those things that we can do? So hiring an executive assistant that you can get right now, a really, really awesome one for about $5 an hour, will change the way that you do things. And now you can expand your business more, right? You can get more business. But then we're like, hey, we have so many buyers. I was always of the mind that I can only handle 5 active buyers at any given time, right? But now this
Right.
changes. You can hire another person who I call a client fulfillment manager. And now they're going to be your listing manager. They're going to be your buyer's concierge, which will set up everybody in their showings and even act as you. The key thing about this person is that they handle 80% of my client communication. They may even act as me, providing I give them the correct things to say.
Now, is
right?
this an agent or is this just a VA?
This is a VA. These are all VAs. Okay. And they don't make any decisions. Obviously, that's got to be clear, but they
Right.
do make those conversations to go, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm right in the middle of an appointment. Can I call you back? Look at Tim's schedule at 3 p.m. today.
Yeah.
So now we can, and things that can be solved that they know how to do can solve on my behalf. At
Wow.
end of day, I get to look at it to see what was said. So if I got to correct anything, I can. Major decisions that I have to do or push through appointments towards the end. And now I get to actually have a concerted time, whether it's prospecting or doing whatever else I need to do for the business. And then the third key hire is moving on to a sales VA. Now, a lot of people want to jump into, give me an ISA. I need more business. That's not necessarily true. Maybe you just need help as a lead coordinator to manage your CRM so that you can get the most important calls done, right? I'm sure AI is coming around to help you with this, but at least at the beginning to give you those lists and everything, it's like, here's my priority calls. And they can follow up in emails. They can follow up in text. And then the phone calls you get to do. You could
Right.
train them eventually to be an ISA, but I think it's really good that you start. Some people end there and they're like, this is enough leverage. But if it's not enough, you can go to your next marketer. It could be a video editor, which I think is really important nowadays.
Right.
It could be an extra cold caller. It could be whatever it is that made your business you, right? And that's going to be that other hire to help prospecting to get you out of the grind that you normally do in person. This is now establishing I've got time freedom, I've got financial freedom, and now I have location freedom, right? And then the very last one that you're going to add in here is what I call an ops manager, or if you follow EOS, it's called your integrator.
Yep.
And now you step in, you got a number 2, somebody that runs the business. I like to call it my lieutenant.
Yep.
She runs stuff for me, right? So she'll go through. Mine is Joan, and without her, I wouldn't have an operation manual. Go ahead.
If I'm hearing you right, your integrator is a VA.
Yep,
And
100%.
for those VA, we're talking about virtual assistants.
Yes.
So, and here's the interesting thing. Let me make a little real estate tie-in to Gino Wickman that wrote Rocket Fuel. He also wrote EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. Both are great books, but Rocket Fuel, one of my favorite. That's where he talks about the visionary integrator relationship. And I listened to that whole book. I listened to a lot of books. So I listened to that whole book, and he gets to the end and he gets to the thank yous, or, at the end of the book, dedications, and dedicates the book to his dad, Floyd Wickman. Do you know Floyd Wickman?
Floyd Wickman?
Floyd Wickman is one of the all-time great real estate coaches. He's probably pushing 90 now.
Oh my
But
goodness.
he came from a real estate background, and here you're bringing it full circle and bringing that whole concept into real estate. And I absolutely love that. So I'm just giving you that little connection.
Hey,
I
no, I
haven't
love
read
that.
those books, by the way, by Gino Wickman. He's an entrepreneurial guru. So, okay. So now here's one question that comes to mind is, where are you getting your VAs?
Yeah. So I'm partnered with a company that is called Sphere Rocket. That
Okay.
I was with them. So I'm a partner with them. My company that came out to support the book is called Agent Relaunch. And you can go to agentrelaunch.com to see all those, which is a partner program to get virtual assistants that are aligned perfectly with this book. Now you can also you can get we also have private coaching and placement that goes with that too. So we have different options to help you actually guide you all the way through this. Yes, Sphere Rocket, of course, you can reach out to me. I'd be happy to put you in the direction for those virtual assistants as well. But you can get them anywhere.
Now
I know
you
that those
said,
work.
I mean, what's kind of blowing my mind is you actually out of your mouth said like $5 an hour. Is that real?
Yes, 100%. 100%. And that's somebody good. You can get somebody for as low as $350, depending upon what you need them to do. But I'm really about enabling my people and hiring people for their brain, right? Especially with AI coming out and
Yeah.
them being able to use that to 400x their production, which
Yeah.
is, I named 6 people, but I'm going to tell you probably here in the next 2 years, you may only need 3. And I'm not going to say no to that. Like there's just so much opportunity, depending upon your volume, to maximize those. But if you're going to look for somebody, say at the base level, to do what I'm telling you, that to be able to keep up with you as the agent in the system, $4 to $5 an hour is very reasonable, right?
That
If
is
if you're gonna hire a really good ops manager or integrator, 8, maybe $9 an hour.
wow.
These are college educated. These are people in the corporate world that have this experience. The virtual assistant world is just mind blowing of what sort of talent you can get.
Yeah.
And some people are like, well, you're not paying them that much. Like, what's going on? It's like our dollar goes 5 times over there. So
Yeah.
$1 an hour is
Where
5.
are most of your virtual assistants from?
The Philippines. That's what I'm
Okay.
referencing. Thanks.
Okay.
But some come from certain areas of Mexico as well. Just really just depends on what you need.
Okay. Well, this is awesome. I can't wait to read the book, The Freedom Agent. So this is coming out, approximate date that we're looking at here.
So hard because
It is a
Amazon
moving
likes to
target.
take its time. But what I will say is that probably the first week of November, we're having
Okay.
a shadow launch. But if you go to thefreedomagentbook.com, you can get on the wait list to get the pre-orders in there. It'll officially launch here at the beginning of December. Go ahead.
And we'll link that in the show notes, thefreedomagentbook.com, correct? Thefreedomagentbook.com. So we're going to link that in the show notes on YouTube, and then we'll put it in on the podcast as well. So wherever you're getting this, go to those show notes. You need to, fill out the form to be one of the first to know about the book. I did it. In fact, Tim reached out to me and I was like, dude, I need to have you on the podcast. And so here we are, but this is amazing. I'm personally like, well, maybe I need to connect with Tim after this and talk more about what I need to be doing right now, which we might be having that conversation. Hey, listen,
let's do it.
Tim, I have got some questions I ask every guest on the show, and
Sure.
I kind of want to run through these. I think you already did answer the one, like, what would you tell yourself in that first year? And I think you said to pace yourself would be that. But I want to talk to you about some other things just to get you to know you a little bit more personally. Who was the greatest influence on your life? The person that you would say, I would not be here today if it weren't for this person.
You're saying in life or in real
In
estate?
life and business.
Okay. So in life, I wouldn't have been able to set myself up the way that I have and have the endurance that I do to just keep going when things got tough if it wasn't for my dad.
Yeah.
He was the one that set that you can do anything attitude.
Yep.
And to not give up. And it's so easy in life and in business to just be able to go, it's too hard, it's too tough. But to push through those ceilings or push through the tough times. I owe a lot to that, having a supportive father helping me get there.
Love it. Hey, yeah, I'll have to say, if you go back to last week's episode of Real Life in Real Estate, I had my dad on the show. It's the first time I've ever had him on the show with me. He's 81 years old, and he has very much been that in my life as well. So I love it. And actually, he said it was his dad. In fact, that's a very common answer that we get. So if you're out there, if you're an agent that's out there and you're a dad, I know sometimes the grind gets tiring in what we do in real estate. It's hard. Tim can show you how to make it easier. But listen, don't ever discount what you do as a dad. It is so important to your children, as evidenced just by the guests that we've had on this show who talk about how important their dad has been in their lives. So I just wanted to say that. If you could go, well, I already asked you that one. I want to know, what does ultimate success look like for you, Tim?
Ultimate success. So it's kind of on the path that we're doing now. One of the biggest passions I had in the military and that I had that got me to be a team leader was just helping people and guiding them and being a leader to make them the best versions of themselves. So real estate has gotten me this far. It's given me the opportunity. And now it has shown me a way that's will revolutionize the way that top tier agents conduct their real estate business. Yeah. And that's what I love to do. I love to speak in front of crowds. Hopefully Mark and I will be in the same conference at some point.
I'm sure.
So but the coaching company, the agent relaunch, is the next thing that we're doing. But that perfect life is making sure that we're giving those we're giving back to the community, and those that make our community, our real estate community, better. I want those people to stay and not be worried about burnout and contribute to the overall success and happiness of our agents and our clients.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Hey, what's a life lesson that you have learned the hard way that you wish someone had told you before? Hey, don't do it that way.
I love this. And I'm going to reference a little bit back into my military career, because I should have known this. So what we call, when we're doing military movements, if something goes wrong, we would go back to the backstop, if you've heard of this. So this is a backup plan to go, hey, I'm a place where I'm not supposed to be. I need to regress to this point to reevaluate what's going on. Especially as a solopreneur, entrepreneur, the things that we do in real estate, you're gung-ho, and I know a lot of you are, and you start sprinting in one direction and you forget to look back. You're further away from where you're supposed to be than the direction that you wanted to. So backstops are a good opportunity when you feel lost that you can come back to. Could be a financial thing that goes, hey, I've spent too much. Let's step back to make sure that we're not overspending, right? Or, hey, I've allocated too much time to this. Let's backtrack to make sure that it's the best and effective use of our time, right? So creating backstops was a big thing. I'm still learning to this day, because I'm still that guy sprinting in one direction, right? But that's a hard lesson that I have to keep learning, is to create backstops for yourself.
Absolutely. That's good. That is some good stuff. I hope you're taking notes. I'm taking a lot of mental notes. I keep thinking to myself, it's a good thing I get to listen back to this, because you've given a lot of wisdom here today, a lot of noteworthy moments here today. So, Tim, do you have a daily routine?
Yeah. So I like to get up and go to the gym every morning. I'm up at like 4:35 in the morning, be able to get out there. I used to run. I make it back into that, a triathlete and marathoner. Okay. But right now I'm getting into a fitness competition, so we're doing that.
Okay.
But I'll always get up and allocate time to condition my body, because my brain needs every bit of power it can throughout the day.
Absolutely.
When I get back, then I also take my daughter in the stroller and dogs for a walk. And during that, 15, 20-minute walk, I do meditations. And I'll walk you through that if you'd like. It's
absolutely.
Okay. So what I'll do the first time, like, I have this whole route that I'll go. So the first thing I start to go through is telling myself to get out of my mind and into my heart and soul. We realize that we all have biases in our life, right? Our emotional bias, our ego bias, our social bias, and our inertia bias, right? And that just means that if you're emotional, you're going to act a certain way. If your ego is challenged, you're going to react a certain way. You got to notice these things so that you can correct them, or at least backtrack later, backstops, right?
Yep.
You're social. Don't do what everybody else is saying necessarily. It's so easy to do. You get on social media, you're like, oh, and then
Right.
inertia. Not every day is going to be the same. Expect it could be similar, but expect something different. No day is the same. As you continue down, I always make sure to tell myself as well, make sure to focus on your routines. Don't worry about things you can't control. Right? It's like the prayer, like, Lord, give me the serenity not to be bothered by things I can't control. Give me the courage to control what I must and the knowledge to know which one's which. I think that's so important because we get caught up in things that we can't control. The only thing that we can truly control is ourselves, our thoughts, and the decisions we make. So if you concentrate that on, man, it makes your day way easier. I run around and I also think about gratitudes. What am I grateful for? Right? Grateful for my family, for my health, and, opportunities to succeed for the day. And as I round the other corner, I think about mantras, right? What are the things that you tell yourself every day? If you keep saying them and they're positive, your brain finds a way to connect them and it makes it true. And the last thing I'll leave you with is I'm rounding back home. I'm on my track in my brain right now. As I'm rounding back home, I tell myself to ruthlessly eliminate hurry. It's just not worth it. Enjoy the journey, as we are always like, I want to get to that 100,000, right?
Right.
There's just so much happening. There's so much growth. There's so much opportunity. I know it's tough. You can enjoy the journey getting there, right? I have to remind myself of that all the time. It's like, this is growing. This is making you the person you need to be to do what you need to do at the end, to make that 100,000, make the quarter, and make the 7 figures. I don't know how big your dreams are.
Right.
Enjoy the journey, but don't be in such a rush to get there.
For some people, the 7 figures sounds great. And I was just in a conference recently with a big real estate coach. And he's like talking about how you become a $1 billion producer. And, there's so many agents that doesn't matter to them, right? As long as you can make the kind of living that Tim is making right now, the kind of living that I'm blessed to make, where you're able to leverage great people around you and relationships that you have around you to build something, like, it may not be necessary for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. Is that a book that you've read?
So I've taken 2 concepts, and one is thinking clearly.
Okay.
Thinking clearly is the name of the book where we talk about the different biases. Awesome. It's a great listen. I like to listen to books as well. And I'll have to get back to you on the other one. I always forget what the name is for it.
There is a book called I think it's The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer, I believe.
I'll have to check it out. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great book. Great book. Last question I have for you. If you weren't in real estate, what other passion would you be pursuing?
Well, I'm kind of already doing it with the virtual assistants and helping that out, because that's another business that I've partnered with. I really enjoy that business as well, because it opens up beyond real estate to find everybody else that leverage. So, but that's not the question you asked, because that's what I'm already doing. So, I used to fly for a living. So,
really?
I was a flight engineer. I'm still a pilot. So if there was another passion that I had, the time, and anybody that flies know the money that it takes to get in to do that, I'd probably be doing more of that. If not that, at least travel. I love to travel.
Yeah, that's awesome. Favorite place you've ever been? This bonus question.
The greatest? What was the question?
Favorite place you've ever been?
Oh, there's too many. I'll give you 2. All right. So the most beautiful place I've ever seen was the Trans-Antarctic Mountains when I used to go back and forth from McMurdo Station to South Pole Station, resupplying those guys. Wow. It was just the most beautiful sight that you've ever seen. Snow cap, total daylight every time, like 24 hours of daylight. It was just absolutely gorgeous.
Wow.
But my favorite, I will tell you, was when I was coming back from Afghanistan and we stopped in Germany and we got to go to Munich for Oktoberfest.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. That was some of the best times I ever had in my life, Mark.
Yeah.
Some of which you probably don't want me to talk about.
You remember them though.
Of course.
Well, that's good. As long as you can remember it, you're probably okay. So, no. Well, Tim, man, this has been a joy to just get to reconnect with you and get to have you on the show today. I just want to remind everyone, you need to get the Freedom Agent. We're going to link it in the show notes. So go to thefreedomagentbook.com, correct, Tim?
That's right.
thefreedomagentbook.com, and register on there. It might be available by the time this comes out. Tim, I understand the moving target thing. We're getting ready to release the Ultimate Success Framework, 100 Days to 100K. So this is the online program that we have put together. It's like 33 modules plus a workbook, and it has been a moving target. There is so much that goes into it, from production and everything else. So I get the moving target, absolutely. But listen, I really do believe, I'm getting this book because I believe it's going to have impact on the way that I do business. And I believe that, especially the program that we're putting out here, the 100 Days to 100K, you go through that, you're going to start to need virtual assistants and begin to build that leverage into your business. And that's where you're going to need the Freedom Agent. I think there's a symbiotic relationship there between these programs. So, Tim,
yes,
any final thoughts, final words of wisdom that you want to give to our audience before we go?
The biggest thing that I will say is just, you're going to hit a lot of adversity, and you're going to have everything in your way. If you don't give up, you can't lose. If you don't give up, you can't lose the game. Good. So just keep driving. I know a lot of markets are hurting right now. Yep. Just keep driving. It's going to get good. It's going to get awesome, and it'll be worth it at the end.
That's awesome. Great words of wisdom. Thank you so much, Tim Whittemore. Pick up the book, The Freedom Agent, at thefreedomagent.com, or freedomagentbook.com. And I look so much more having you on in the future. I can't wait to hear about all the success with the book, Tim.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks so much, Mark.
All right. Have an awesome day.
You too.